Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is WireDogSec, back with another video for you guys. Today's video, we are on TryHackMe, SOC Level 1 Learning Path, Network Security Monitoring Module, Data Exfiltration Detection Room. Learn how to detect data exfiltration attempts and various network channels. Task number 1, Introduction. Data exfiltration is the unauthorized transfer of sensitive data from a computer or other device. Its primary objective for attackers who have breached a network. As a SOC analyst, our job is to detect and stop this before sensitive information walks out the door. This room will cover the common techniques attackers use to steal data and, more importantly, how we can catch them in the act. Learning objectives. In this room, we will cover the following learning objectives. Understand the common methods used for data exfiltration. Learn how to detect data exfiltration attempts using network traffic analysis. Identify signs of exfiltration on endpoint devices. Correlate logs in a SIEM to uncover hidden exfiltration channels. Prerequisites. This room expects the users to have completed or covered or explored the following rooms. So Wireshark the basics, Network Security Essentials, Splunk basics, and Splunk exploring SPL. So check out my channel for anything related to these videos here. Let's begin our learning journey. Okay. And if you want to help support the channel, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so every time I upload to the channel. And I'm going to hit this start machine button as we dive into it. Task 2, lab connection. Before moving forward, start the lab by clicking the start machine button, which I've already done. It will take 3 minutes to load properly. The VM will be accessible on the right side of split screen. If the VM is not visible, use the blue show split view button at the top of the page. I have it open up in another tab. As you can see here, I'm already in Splunk. All files required to complete the room are placed in data exfil folder in the desktop. The log files for the investigation's coming task are pre-ingested into Splunk's instance, which can be accessed from the machine at whatever IP y'all are getting. Okay, as you can see, I've already navigated there. And make sure you click on the search and reporting right once this loads up. For the practical lab, there are 3 ways to approach the practical. Explore the network traffic in the retrospective folder in data exfil directory on the desktop. Perform log analysis on the log file in the same folder. Examine the logs already ingested into Splunk instance. Make sure to select all times and use the index equals data underscore exfil as shown below. So make sure it looks like something like this. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and do that. I need to change the time over here to all time. Okay. There we go. Hit enter or just hit that search function there, and now we have stuff populating inside of here. So it looks like we're good to go there. Source type, okay. All right, so we've done this, and I'm going to try to minimize that. Task number 3, data exfil, overview techniques and indicators. Data exfiltration is the unauthorized transfer of data from an organization to an external destination controlled by an adversary. It will be deliberate, insider, or via malware, compromised credentials. Why adversaries perform data exfiltration. Data exfiltration is the act of stealing sensitive information from a network. Adversaries do this for several reasons. Financial gain, stolen data. Examples, credit card info, personal records can be sold on the dark web or used for fraud, espionage, nation, state actors target intellectual property, trade secrets, or classified data for strategic advantage. Ransomware and extortion. Attackers steal data and threaten to leak it unless a ransom is paid. Disruption and sabotage. Some adversaries aim to damage reputations or operations by leaking internal data. Persistence and reconnaissance. Exfiltrated data helps attackers understand the environment for future attacks. Threat actors and their exfiltration techniques. The following table covers some of the real-world threat actors and their data exfiltration methods. So let's take a look at this table here. So we have threat actor / campaign, exfiltration technique, and description. APT29, Cozy Bear, which is well known out there. HTTPS over legitimate domains. Encrypted HTTPS channels were used to exfiltrate data from government networks. FIN7, HTTP post to C2 servers. Embedded stolen data in HTTP post requests to evade detection. Lunar Spider, Zloader, encrypted C2 channels maintain a 2-month intrusion using encrypted channels and staged exfiltration. Darkside ransomware, dual extortion, encryption plus exfil. Hold data before encrypting systems, then threaten public leaks, which is that's a common tactic these days. APT10, Cloud Hopper, cloud-to-cloud transfer. Exfiltrated data from managed service providers using cloud APIs. Common phrases related to exfiltration. So discovery / collection, attacker locates sensitive files. Staging / compression, attackers aggregates, compresses, encrypts, or encodes files. Zip, RAR, 7-zip, or 7Z, TAR, base64, steganography. Exfiltration, transport, transfer over network, removable media, cloud, or covert channels. Command and control, or C2 for short, coordination, orchestrates, transfer, and confirms receipt. Techniques and indicators. Detecting exfiltration requires correlating host and network level indicators such as unusually large or frequent outbound uploads, proxy / firewall, long or high entropy DNS queries, suspicious process command lines and network connections, sysmon / EDR, cloud storage HPI, activity, removable media events, and effective SOC level 1 triage. Focuses on source host / user destination, transferred volume, process identity / command line, and supporting evidence across proxy, DNS, flow, host, and cloud logs. The table here, techniques, examples, and indicators of attack and where to look. Network-based HTTP, HTTPS uploads to S3, Azure Blob, webmail, FTP, SFTP, SCP, DNS tunneling, ICMP, covert protocols, custom TCP, UDP, proxy, web gateway logs, large posts, uploads to cloud endpoints, firewall next-gen, firewall flows, high bytes to single IP ASN, net flow spikes, outbound flows, DNS logs, long host names, and TXT queries or text queries. Let's see here. Host-based, PowerShell / invoke web request, rclone, AWS CLI, curl / wget, archive creation, zip RAR, use of removable USBs, ADS / hidden streams. So let's see here. You can use sysmon, EDR, process create, network connect, file create events, Windows security, events, looks like 4663 and 4656, object access, audit TD or audit D / shell history on Linux and removable media events, cloud exfiltration, S3, put object / multi-part upload, Azure Blob uploads, Google Cloud Storage objects, insert drive / SharePoint external sharing. So you can look at CloudTrail / Azure activity, GCP audit, cloud storage, access logs, unusual service, account or IP activity, covert and encoding, DNS tunneling, base64 or chunked encoding, steganography into images / audio, splitting files into many small requests, low and slow, DNS logs, proxy logs with many small posts, correlation of intermittent uploads plus suspicious process activity, insider and collaboration tools, Slack, Teams, Dropbox, Google Drive, Box, uploads or sharing to external users, compromised employee accounts. You can look at audit logs, share events, file downloads, and mail logs, general IOAs and triage signals, large outbound volume to external IPs / domains, unknown destination domains, suspicious processes / command lines, many file read events followed by an outbound connection, and multi-part / stream uploads. So you can look at correlate, proxy, firewall, netflow, DNS, sysmon, EDR, event 1, 3, and 11, mail server logs. Data exfiltration is a high-impact threat that combines opportunistic methods, legitimate tools, and creative covert channels to move sensitive assets outside of an organization. And effective detection depends less on single-point alerts and more on rapid correlation across host, network, and cloud telemetry, identifying who accessed the data, what was transferred, how it was staged, and where it was sent. In the coming tasks, we will explore various techniques employed by adversaries to perform data exfiltration and what indicators can help us trace the footprints of the attack. All right, so we have a question here. Exfiltrating the data through HTTP comes under which technique? Okay, and if we go back up there where they were talking about that, it should be network-based for that one. All right, so I'm going to plug that in. And we're going to proceed to task number 4 here. Detection, data exfil through DNS tunneling. DNS exfiltration abuses the domain name system, a protocol normally allowed through networks to smuggle bytes encoded into DNS queries / responses, so firewalls and web proxies don't notice. Because DNS is typically allowed and often unfiltered or forwarded to public resolvers, it's attractive for covert channels. DNS tunneling. DNS, which is domain name system, translates human-friendly domain names, examples, example.com, into IP addresses and provides other record types. You have A, quad A, TXT or text, LMEX, which is mail, CNAME, etc. Key points: DNS queries are ubiquitous. Almost every host performs DNS lookups. DNS is normally allowed through firewalls and gateways, making it an attractive covert channel. DNS uses UDP mostly on port 53 for queries and responses. TCP is used for zone transfers or large responses. Why attackers use DNS for exfiltration? Always on service, DNS lookups are routine and often allowed outbound. High cover queries look like normal requests unless inspected closely. Flexible payload data can be encoded into the subdomain labels or TXT responses. Indicators of attack: when analyzing DNS traffic for possible indicators of data exfiltration, we should look for the following. Many DNS queries are sent to a single external domain, especially with very high counts compared to the baseline. Long subdomain labels or unusually long full query names. So it looks like greater than 60 to 100 characters. High entropy or base 32 / base 64 like patterns in the query name. Lots of mixed case letters, digits. You got the minus sign, equal sign, and signs for base 64. Where records types, TXT, null, or many large TXT responses. Unusual response behavior frequent index domain. If attacker uses exfil by query without answering, or TCP large UDP fragments for DNS. Queries at regular intervals, beaconing behavior. Let's use this knowledge and examine the network traffic. DNS exfil.pcap placed at data exfil DNS exfil on the desktop. Detecting through Wireshark. Below are Wireshark display filters, T-Shark commands, and what to look for when analyzing DNS exfil PCAP. Let's first start by applying the DNS or the filter on DNS traffic using the following filter as shown below. So the filter is just going to be DNS. All right, so I'm just going to copy that and just take a look at this real quick. This little image here. All right, Wireshark, and then put DNS here in the filter, and then take a look at the results here. So let's go ahead and do that. Flip over to here, and we don't need this right now. So let's go to, I thought I had already opened this, but let's double click it and open it up. Okay, and it should be under here. There we go. So I'm gonna right click that and open with Wireshark. So hopefully it doesn't take too long to open up here. But T-Shark's basically like the command line version of Wireshark, but it can do a lot more. As with typical command line tools, it's more flexible than like a GUI interface and such. But let's take a look at this and see once this fires up. All right, there we go. So DNS, enter. All right, so we're cooking with bacon grease now. Let's see what they're talking about here. Let's filter on the DNS queries with no response using the following filter. Okay, so DNS flags, response equals to 0. It should look like this. All right, so let's plug that in. All right, so looks like we're good to go here. This looks weird already. There's another one down there too. Okay, so let's go back up here. So we just took a look at this already. We can see some DNS queries with a large query length. Find long queries, suspicious subdomain lengths. Let's apply a filter on the query length and see if we can narrow down our results. So DNS and frame.len is greater than 70. So we should look something like this here. I guess this must be one of the answers because it's linked out. Let's plug this in. Okay, there we go. All right. I mean, we already saw it up here anyway. So let's see. The above query or the above result identifies one particular suspicious domain, which is receiving the suspicious looking DNS request. Let's filter on the suspicious domain using the following filter. So we're going to filter on that domain. It looks like here. So it has the redacted in there. All right. So let's plug this in. And then the domain is tunnelcorp.net. Hit enter. There we go. You see all kinds of funky stuff in there. All right, so let me go down to these answers real quick. See if we're supposed to be answering stuff. All right, yeah, so we already have that in here. So I'm gonna answer this one right away. Tunnelcorp.net. Okay, how many suspicious traffic / logs related to DNS queries were observed? I guess we have to look inside of Splunk eventually to get that one. Then Which local IP sent the maximum number of suspicious requests? All right, so let's go back up here and continue on. We're left off. Okay. So we're at this part here, already plugged it in to get just those results for that suspicious domain. Looks like we have successfully identified the DNS tunneling attempt for the network traffic. We can observe the following. Multiple internal hosts are compromised. All these hosts are sending the data in chunks and using DNS tunneling techniques. There's only one external domain identified as the one receiving the DNS queries. Let's correlate this with Splunk. So we're going to Splunk now. Here's the index right here and DNS logs, the ones we're going to look at specifically here. So let's launch up this bad boy. Okay. Okay, now we're going to go to our search up here. Oop, I didn't want to do that. So let's try this again. Control A, delete all that, enter. Now let's see what we're cooking with here. 1,000 events. Okay, quite a bit of events in here. All right, so it should look something like this, which we do see that. All right, the search query will filter, show the results matching source type equals DNS logs. What to look for in the DNS logs? We need to look at the suspicious looking domains with a huge query count from multiple hosts or from one host, suspicious if the domain is untrusted. Let's run the following search query to display the stats of DNS queries generated per source IP as shown below. So index equals data exfil source type DNS logs, and they're piping that into stats count by source IP, and we should get something like this. So they got 5 back, it looks like, for that. And then on the side here, you can see the counts. So let's go ahead and do that. All right. Okay, let's see here. So looks like we have similar results. Let's now apply a filter on the stats of the queries to identify the suspicious ones as shown below. So it looks like they added some more things in here. So let's see here. Sort by, looks like sort count was added on this. All right, so let's do this here. There we go. Now we see it. All right, same thing as here. The above results clearly display some odd-looking DNS queries with the large size of the query. What to look for? We can look at single hosts generating far more DNS requests than normal. Long query names, subdomain encoding. Let's now apply the following filter on the queries with length over 30 and see if we can filter the odd-looking ones out as shown below. Okay, so we added this where in here now, where length query is greater than 30. So let's do that here. Okay. There we go. So we have some of the results here, and they clicked on query right there. All right, perfect. With the following indicators, we were able to identify the data exfiltration attempts through DNS tunneling, a large number of DNS requests with no response, large length of the DNS query. Let's move on to the next task, learn how to detect data exfiltration attack via FTP protocol. Sweet. All right, so let's check these questions out here. How many suspicious traffic / logs related to DNS tunneling were observed? Let's see here. It says 315 events. So let's see if that's what they're looking for. Got it. Which local IP sent the maximum number of suspicious requests? And let's see if we can find that here. Source IP. All right, so this one here, 192.168.1.103 appears to be that answer there. So I'm going to copy that out and paste it in as our answer. Hey everybody, this is WireDogSec. Just a quick reminder to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Once you hit the notification bell, be sure to set to all notifications so you know every time I post to the channel, upload a video, all that good stuff. Let's continue to grow our glorious community here. We are in the cyber trenches. We're not just reporting on it. Be sure to check out my channel as well. I have tons of videos that you can see here, over 300 videos ready for you to check out and learn something from. Be sure to review my posts. I'm frequently posting new things to
my channel here, including jobs and everything related to that. Also, I have tons of playlists here that you can review, make it more convenient for you. Anyway, happy defending, happy hacking, enjoy the video.
Task 5, Detection, Data Exfil through FTP. FTP, File Transfer Protocol, is one of the oldest protocols for transferring files between a client and server over TCP/IP network. Attackers use it to move large amounts of data off a network, sometimes via compromised credentials, misconfigured servers, or ephemeral accounts. Detection relies on a mix of packet inspection, FTP only, server logs, SSH session metadata, and network flow size pattern analysis. How adversaries use FTP for exfiltration. Use legitimate FTP servers, public or misconfigured internal servers to stage, transfer data. Use compromised credentials, service accounts, user creds. Use non-standard ports or tunneling to blend with other traffic. Indicators of attack, what to look for. User and pass commands, clear text credentials, store, upload, and reser, download. I guess that's supposed to be retrieve. Commands, repeated or large transfers, large data connections to unusual external IPs, especially outside business hours. Data channel openings on ephemeral ports, pass V paired with large payloads. Let's examine the FTP lab.pcap file placed in the data exfil FTP exfil on the desktop. Open the file in Wireshark and follow the steps mentioned below. Isolate FTP and command control. First, we will look for FTP sessions using FTP, and then pipe FTP data filter as shown below. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this ready to go. Oh, once we get it in there, it should look something like this. I don't know why I have so much hard time pronouncing ephemeral. So let's go back one and then go to FTP. And let's see here. I think it should automatically open this up. Let's make sure. Okay, there we go. And we can just close this one out. We don't need that anymore. Okay, now we're cooking. Okay, that's weird. It won't expand, whatever. So we'll do that. And let's see here. So we should be good to go. We had similar results. This filter will isolate the FTP, control traffic, look for credentials. Let's filter to show only login attempts, user/pass with this here. So FTP request, command equals user, and then FTP request equals pass, and we should get something like this. So you can see user admin, backup, dev. They're trying all kinds of stuff, it looks like here. Okay, well, let's get rid of all this. And what happened here? I copied too much. There we go. Alright, so let me move this over. I don't know why this won't expand. That's weird. From the output, we can look for suspicious usernames or weak passwords, look for anomalies in file names or credentials. FTP contains store. Alright. First off, let's go check these questions real quick, make sure we're not missing anything. From the guest account, okay. So maybe we'll just have to go back and look at this as we go through the questions. So let's get rid of all this here and make sure I copied this. Alright. You can always go and click this down arrow here and go back and look at what you already did. So it should be easy enough to answer the questions. Alright, so now we have those results. Right click a packet, follow TCP stream as shown below. Alright, so right click a packet inside of here, follow TCP stream, and then there we go. So we can see additional information there since it's in clear text. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that here. I guess we can select a random one, I guess. Follow. There we go. We can look at suspicious files by filtering on the file extension like PDF, CSV, text, etc. Let's apply a filter on FTP packets containing the term CSV in it as shown below. So FTP contains CSV in double quotes, and it should look something like this here, and it pulled up that guest account, so we're getting there, and then I guess the answer is going to appear down there. So let's go ahead and do that here. All right, so we're done with this part. Let's plug this in. Okay. And there we go. So let's go ahead and right click that and follow TCP stream. And there's the flag for one of them. So let's go ahead and grab that bad boy out of there. And just go down and plug it in here. Oop. Well, okay. We got ahead of ourselves, I guess. How many connections were observed from the guest account? And we saw that in here. So let me hit that X here, and then let's go back to that here. I'm guessing 2 right here. Let's see if that's what they're looking for. No. All right. So maybe we'll have to search on the guest count and see. Apply a filter. What is the name of the customer related field file that was exfiltrated from the root account? All right. Anyway, so we'll probably get to it eventually. No, I don't need any help. The above results show a suspicious IP connected as guest account has transferred some sensitive CSV files to a suspicious external IP. Identifying the traffic with a large file size. Look at the traffic with a large length using the filter FTP and frame. It's like greater than 90. And check out the content in TCP stream as shown below. So we have additional stuff here. All right, and they clicked on guest again. So we'll do the same thing. Follow TCP stream. Okay. Nice. I guess that's what we're supposed to be seeing here. Store, yeah. All right. Looks like a document with sensitive information was being transferred to the external IP address. Explore other streams to find more indicators of sensitive documents being exfiltrated through the HTTP protocol. All right. So let's see here. I think we have this one. Internal IP was sending it. So it looks like this one here. This 192.168.1.105. Let's go back here. The drop down and go here. Enter. Yeah. All right. So we see that one has the biggest length. So I'm pretty sure that's probably what they're looking for here. Let's see if that's the answer. 192.168.1.105. All right. Apply to filter. What is the name? The custom-related custom-related file. All right. For this one, we can look at FTP contains root. And you can see it pulled back all that information there. And you can do the same thing for guest, which we'll get to that shortly. But let's go ahead and follow the stream. And this should be the file name here. Go ahead and grab that, paste it in. And how many connections were observed from the guest account? So we're just going to replace root with guest. All right. And then we'll just count those. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That should be our answer for that one. Got it. All right, so let's go to the next task here, task number 6. So I'm just going to minimize that. And detection, data exfil via HTTP is when an attacker moves sensitive data out of a target using HTTP as the transport. HTTP is commonly abused because it blends with normal web traffic, can traverse firewalls and proxies, and can be obfuscated encoding, encryption, tunneling. This detection task aims to teach SOC analysts how to identify signs of HTTP-based exfiltration in packet captures, Wireshark, and log Splunk, and to provide practical search queries and investigation steps. Why it matters. HTTP is very common. Attackers hide exfiltration in the noise of legitimate web usage. Successful detection stops breaches and helps trace attacker activity post-compromise. Organizations must detect and respond to protect sensitive data and meet compliance requirements. How adversaries use HTTP for data exfiltration. Post uploads to external servers. Bulk data is sent to attacker-controlled host or cloud storage in post request bodies. Get requests with encoded data. Attacker squeezes small chunks into query strings or path segments useful for low and slow exfiltration. Use of common services /CDN. Exfiltration disguised as uploads to popular services or attacker-controlled subdomains under reputable domains. Custom headers, data placed in headers, examples x/data base64 may bypass some string-based DLP. Chunk transfer / multi-part. Large payload split into multiple requests to avoid size thresholds. HTTPS/TLS tunneling. The encrypted channel hides the payload detection, requires TLS inspection, SNI analysis, or metadata detection. Staging via cloud services. The attacker uploads to Dropbox, GitHub, GIST, I guess, and then fetches externally. Adversaries adapt low and slow approaches, encryption / encoding, and use of legitimate services to evade detection. Indicators of attack, also known as IOAs. Common network indicators, unusually large HTTP post requests to external / unexpected host, HTTP requests to domains with low reputation / rarely seen in baseline traffic, frequent small requests beaconing to the same host followed by large uploads, chunked or multi-part transfers where multiple requests compose a larger file. Let's examine HTTP logs in Splunk and see if we can find the indicators of the data exfiltration attempts in logs, analyzing logs in Splunk. To start, use the following search query to get the HTTP_logs and make sure to select all time as shown below. So we're just going to copy and paste. Okay, so now we're going back into Splunk to look at stuff. Let's go ahead and get out of this. Okay, let's go back here in case we need to get back into anything here. So let's go back in Splunk and let's go out to that search bar. Okay, clear all this stuff out. Enter. Here we go. All right, awesome. So now let's take a look here. So we have similar results. Okay, as we understand, the exfiltration attempts can be done via post request. We will apply a filter on the post method to further narrow down our results as shown below. All right, so I'm just going to copy this whole thing here, and method equals post, as you can see there, and it should look like this. All right. Okay. Here we go. All right, so let's see here. Let's now look at the average amount of bytes sent out to various domains as shown below. Okay, so now they're having to use the stats and count stuff in here, and then they're sorting it, looks like here. All right, good to go there. Now let's try it on our end. All right, let's see here. Nice. All right, so right off the bat, we can see Dropbox in here. Some other stuff that could be of interest to GitHub. Let's filter out benign traffic and isolate posts with large payloads. All right, so it's like bytes sent is greater than 600, and they added some more stuff here, putting it into a table, and we should get something like this here. Looks like one of our answers as well. So let's go ahead and delete all this here, plug this in, enter. Okay, there we go there. So the same thing, cloudsync / services.com is in question there. Our analysis so far points to one suspicious entry with a large chunk of data uploaded to an external source. Let's correlate this with the PCAP to extend our analysis further. So let's go back to our PCAP stuff here, and then right click, open with Wireshark. When that's loading up here, let's go and check out these questions. Which internal compromised host was used to exfiltrate this sensitive data? So we already see that, I think, here, which is this 103 IP. So we got that answer right off the bat. And then I'm assuming the next one's going to be inside of Wireshark somewhere. Okay, so let's see here. Network traffic analysis. Open the HTTP_lab.pcap placed here. Filter on the HTTP traffic. Okay, just HTTP, but we're going to be lazy and just copy and paste it here. Enter. Now we should just be seeing that traffic, right? There we go. All right, so let's continue on. We can see HTTP traffic with both get and post requests. Filter on post requests as shown below. So method equals post, and we should get something like this. Okay. Let's go ahead and do that here. All right, there we go. Nice. Filter on traffic with the frame length of more than 500 as shown below. So that frame.length and then greater than 500 to this. Okay, there we go. So now we're getting closer and closer, looks like. Should look like this here, which we've already grabbed that IP out of here, right? Huh. Okay. Theirs looks different than ours here. Let me hit enter again. Yeah. So I'm not sure, I'm not sure what they did there, but let's go ahead and continue on. We still have a lot of noise. Let's increase the size to 750 and see if we can further filter down the results. So let's do that here. And it should look something like this. Okay, there we go. So basically what we just saw in Splunk there. This request shows only one entry, which looks the same as the one we found in Splunk. Let's go to the HTTP stream to see the file's content as shown below here. So once again, right click it, follow TCP stream, then it should pull up some additional stuff over here. All right, so let's go ahead and do that here. Right click, follow TCP stream. There we go. There we go. So username, password, all that stuff. All right, so let's continue on. Great, we have looked at the indicators of data exfiltration attempts in the logs and network traffic, and we're able to correlate and identify the secret document being exfiltrated to the external IP. Okay, what's the flag hidden inside the exfiltrated data? Okay, so let's see if we could find that somewhere in here. It's right there. Got it. Well, this is actually pretty fun. You can see how we're using different tools to correlate things, and we're also using logs to correlate events and such. All right. Let's go ahead and continue on here. Task 7, detection, data exfiltration via ICMP or ping. ICMP is a network layer protocol used for diagnostics and control. Examples: ping, TTL exceeded, which is time to live exceeded, because it is commonly allowed through firewalls and typically inspected less strictly than TCP UDP. Attackers sometimes abuse ICMP to tunnel and exfiltrate data. Malicious actors encode data into ICMP packets, echo request, reply, timestamp info, and send it to a remote listener under their control. How adversaries use ICMP for exfiltration. Common techniques: ICMP echo type 8, reply type 0, tunneling. Attackers place encoded base64 hex chunks of files inside ICMP payloads. The remote server collects and decodes them. Custom ICMP types codes using uncommon ICMP types or non-zero codes to avoid signature-based detections, fragmentation, and reassembly. Large payloads are split across multiple packets. Encryption/obfuscation, encrypting payloads. Base64 is common to look like random data. I guess they meant encoding. Indicators that that something may be malicious. Persistent ICMP sessions to an external host, not used for legitimate monitoring. Unusually large ICMP payloads or frequent ICMP with payloads greater than typical ping size. ICMP payloads that contain high entropy data or patterns consistent with base64 hex. Bursts of ICMP are immediately followed by no other legitimate application traffic from the same host. Indicators of attack in Wireshark. Look for the following in a PCAP when inspecting in Wireshark: ICMP packet volumes, a single host sending many ICMP echo requests to an external IP, large frame.len or ICMP.payload, pings with payloads much larger than typical, example greater than 64 bytes, ICMP type/code unusual values, example unusual use of timestamp 1314 or custom codes, regular timing, periodicity, Evenly spaced ICMP packets carrying similar sized payloads, fragments with reassembly, multiple ICMP fragments from the same source destination pair. Traffic analysis. For this task, open the ICMP underscore lab.pcap placed in data exfil ICMP exfil folder on the desktop. Filter all ICMP traffic. So similar to what we just did with the HTTP stuff here. So I already have it open here. I'm just going to plug it in, and then bam, we should have just this ICMP stuff. All right, so it looks something like this. Okay. Isolate echo request. Let's apply the filter to isolate ICMP echo request packets as shown below. So it looks like we're looking at type equals 8, like this. Okay, so let's plug that in here. There we go. So let's see what the next step is. Examine large ICMP packets. Let's now apply the filter on the ICMP request and focus on the frame length over 100 as shown below. Okay, so let's go and do that here. Frame.length looks greater than 100. Should look like that. All right. Let's go ahead and clear all this out. Plug this in. There we go. It's bad. We can see some stuff in here, like this password, some other stuff inside of there. Flags, packets with unusually large payloads. Normal ping sizes are approximately 74 bytes total. Anything over 100 is suspicious. Okay, which we just saw there, right? Looks like a flag there as well. Okay, that's it. ICMP is simple, and any anomaly can be detected easily by examining the frame size and investigating the larger payload size than usual. What's the flag found in the exfiltrated data through ICMP? So let's check it out here. And let's just go to, let's see if we can follow this. Okay, guess not. Let's click around in here. There we go. So we have the flag right there. And so I'm trying to see if we can open this up here. There we go. So, and trying to see if there's an easy way to grab this flag out of here. I'm sure there is somewhere. Let's check this other section here. I wonder if we have to copy all that out and just grab it that way. All right, whatever. Let's try this here. Let's see if we can copy this. Okay, so I'm not sure if you can do that. Let me try double clicking again. All right, whatever. Let me see if I can get this figured out. If not, I'll just type it in. All right, so what you can do is you can open up a text editor or something, and you go over here, right click it, and you can copy as C string. All right, so go back to your text editor, paste it in there, and now you should be able to grab it out of here, right there. I've already done it. Okay, so I'm just showing y'all how to do it here, or you can just manually type it in. But there we go. Task number 8, conclusion. That's it from this room. This room only touched a few channels used for data exfiltration, and we looked at the network-centric log sources to find the footprints of the data being sent out of the organization. We've explored data exfiltration from a defender's perspective. In this room, we covered the fundamentals, what data exfiltration is and why it's a critical threat to organizations, attacker frameworks, how data exfiltration fits into established models like cyber kill chain, action on objectives, common techniques, the various methods attackers use to steal data, including FTP, HTTP, DNS, and ICMP tunneling. Adversaries use more channels to exfiltrate the data, and we can look at other log sources to find indicators of attack. Further rooms will cover more. Sweet. So we are done. Awesome. So that was neat. A lot of information to take in there. Hopefully y'all took notes. If you're enjoying the content, you want to help support the channel, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know every time I upload to the channel. Happy hacking, happy defending. Have a nice day. I'll see you later. And stay safe in those cyber trenches.